This is Amanda Jocelyn with Elevation Station, and you're watching Planet Green Trees TV.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. And thing sucks.
And now back to more Planet Green Trees.
Traded out.
We're back, Planet Green Trees, and I'm suggesting we're going to get the answer to what our next steps are by Alan Peinzer. Alan, what do you want to do?
I want to talk about the differences between the Medical Marijuana Act and the Adult Use Act for outdoor cultivation.
Oh, great topic. Great topic.
That the problem is with the Medical Marijuana Act, you really can't grow outdoors. They corrected the defects with the Adult Use Act, but it's very difficult to grow outdoors for the Medical Marijuana Act. And I think that if we're talking about changing these laws, that's one thing that should be looked at, is to make the outdoor rules for growing the same, and the way they've adopted them in the Adult Use Act is the best set to use.
Alan, then what I'm getting from you is you're in favor of the legislature amending the laws. I'm sorry that you feel that way. Or are you one that the legislature needs to change it, but not this legislature?
Yeah, I'm with Jamie on that. Number one, I don't want to change it too fast. Number two, I'm scared of changing it in lame duck. And number three, any changes that are done have to be studied very carefully. We've learned in the past, every time they've changed it, they've made things worse for us. With little subtleties that it's been hard to detect at the time, and that's why we need careful study.
Yep. You got to give to get, Alan.
Well, the law was passed, the MMA was passed in 2008. 2012 was the first amendments. It took 4 years.
Right.
Before any amendments were made. A lot of that was brought about by, there's some introduction of some legislation, some lame duck stuff. But the implementation and enforcement came from law enforcement and the head law enforcement agency, state police, and the leader himself, Bill Schuette. Do you think we are using stupid terms and expecting miracles from an unproducing legislature that can't spell miracle to produce some kind of good legislation to fix this? Or would it be easier to not allow them to take pen to paper and instead expect and respect the authority of the Attorney General to do that? What do you say, Jamie?
I caught some of that, but could you rephrase the question?
You know what? It was a very good question. It's a very good question.
Asking if you trust the legislature to make these changes.
Right. I mean, listen, first of all, your argument is we need legislative change, not this legislature. If I can pick the people that I want to do it, then it'll be okay. But anybody else, that's probably not going to happen. I'm being facetious, of course. I mean, I think if there was legitimate stakeholders that took the things to heart and made recommendations that were actually considered, as Alan suggesting that there be a study of. I mean, Alan, between us, the marijuana law section, as you know, has a process by which they're going to do that. And the person anointed themselves to be in charge of it, who they're going to select and how it's going to be read. There was no, that's going to dictate this whole thing, and that's going to be the place where the stakeholders, I think you need a more objective group of stakeholders to start with. But even so, is the call for legislative change in these kind of areas something that should come before the call for executive branch implementation, opinions, Attorney General opinions, and policies? What do you say, Jim Powers? Don't say you weren't listening.
I wouldn't let the legislature do shit now or in the future.
Jamie, is your best argument, yes, the legislature needs to change this, but not this legislature, I want to pick them?
Moving it into the next session is where I'd like to start with right now.
Don't do that. No. Mm-mm.
Recognize how bad the composition of this particular legislature is reasonable for that purpose.
You want to...
Doesn't mean that we get a great legislature next time, but, it won't be this one.
All these legislatures were voted in at the same time Dana was. right? Because it's every 2 years for them.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, I don't know.
I thought it was four.
There's
No, it's
a lot of
two.
change.
It's two
But
for the
still,
House.
majority of people, and a lot of the people who've been around for a long time have worked in opposition to reasonable cannabis laws. So there will be some changes for next.
Dan was telling me earlier that he completely trusts the legislature to make these changes. He puts all his faith in the
Dan
legislature.
does have a very strong belief in the legislature and the government.